Newsline with Faraz Shaukat.
And jolly good morning to you. This is Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining me this wonderful morning is Mr. Rusripale Tenakron, former bank chairman and activist. Very good morning to you, Mr. Rusripale.
Good morning, Faraz.
And how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'll be happier if you told me what on earth is going to happen. We've had COPs going on. They're looking at this central bank bonds matter. And I know some people will say, oh no, it's that again. Well, it is that again because what's happened to the money? I am told that one particular company made approximately 10 billion rupees out of these two bond matters. So for one company to make 10 billion, or however many billion it was, somebody's got to lose. Yes. Who do you think is the loser?
Obviously. You know, first commenting about this COPE thing and the ongoing inquiries,
yeah.
I must say there's something very intriguing happening in this. From the beginning, what we saw was that this was a deliberately delayed matter. The delivery is very much delayed.
Indeed.
So we don't know what the birth is going to be.
Yeah.
Because it has been postponed, put off, pressure applied, various other measures taken to deviate, diversions, all kinds of things have happened. But anyway, there is one consolation that the new Parliament's COPE committee has taken the matter very seriously, because referring it to the Auditor General is a step that very wise step that they have taken, because they have taken it out of the realms of the COPE committee, and they have taken it to the best possible independent person in the country, the Auditor General.
Right.
I mean, who else? So we know what happened to him. His investigations were delayed for some very, very absurd reason, saying that because the information is sensitive, they can't use the information. Now, then, when there was pressure brought by the COPE committee members on the officers of the central bank, then they said, okay, if you want, you can come and see. Now, I don't know, for us, the difference between getting the same information, either by you are giving it voluntarily or you are coming and getting it, ultimately it is the same thing. The sensitivity, if it is a sensitive affair or issue of sensitivity, then you cannot be permitted to come. Now, about the margin, I must say something about it. 10 billion you say, I think probably you are well informed because of your investigative part. I also believe that looking at these figures and what we have done our studies by ourselves from being outside, it should be in the region of over 10 billion, these two bond issues. But I know we are aware of one thing. The margin that this particular suspected alleged company got earned as profits from the transactions, as compared between the next in the run, is very big.
You're absolutely right. I can tell you that I have documents which I am first of all verifying today. I'm double checking. But in any event, the spread between the one company and the next company is well over 600 million. That's the difference. And the company with the most is the new boy on the block. And the new boy on the block, why can't they do a simple analysis, a very simple analysis? When are they going to stop trying to pull the wool over our eyes? Because a simple analysis will reveal that in the pre-Mahendran years, or in the pre-Mahendran period that this company got its license, how much of business did they do? And let us examine the record in the post-Cabral period, or in the Mahendran period. If you do that exercise, you will see that 15 other companies or 14 other companies or dealers their performance is coming nowhere near the new boy on the block. And the new boy on the block, are we to believe that this was merely coincidence, or was there something far more substantial? Those are the questions that we'd like answered, Mr. Rusripala.
Yeah.
And the people, they want to know, what about the money? They can't simply get away with it just because the governor, he wasn't removed. He was not offered a new contract. There is a subtle, but nevertheless, a difference. And he, the other people are still there, Mr. Rusripala. What's going on?
Yes. This comparison you referred to, that is the earnings of this particular company, alleged company, during the pre-Mahendran period, the Mahendran period and afterwards, is very obvious. Nobody can hide those facts, figures. And coming to the determination of the exact amounts that has changed hands and earned by these people, it is not a very difficult exercise. This is not rocket science.
Why do you say that?
It is all available in the computers of the central bank, because no bond transaction, whether it is in the primary deal or in the secondary market, it cannot go without being recorded in the central bank. That is how it is going on. Yeah. So it is child's play for anybody. You don't need forensic audits for this. Yeah. What you really need is exposure of the information, exposure of the events that have taken place. That's all. Openness. That will bring to light a lot of these things.
But also because of what you say, that because it is part of the banking system and it's all documented, it would be rather easy to get the FCID or the Bribery Commission to have a look at it, because the profits will be stated, and it will be interesting to see where the profits went. Exactly where did it go?
Exactly. It will be very much easier than the exercise that they are planning to engage into to find the money. So the former politicians, what happened with those.
Absolutely.
This is very easy exercise.
This is a black and white exercise where all the facts are available quite literally at your fingertips.
Yes.
Just like that.
Yes.
And they can find it, rather than the extremely difficult task of trying to find 18 billion or whatever billion dollars that the Rajapaksas are supposed to have mismanaged.
Yeah. I wish you all one day, in one of those programs, if you can draw a draft and show the public the performance of this particular company as vis-a-vis the other companies.
That is the document that I am verifying now. And we will do that. In the meantime, to discuss this and more, matters that are close to your heart and your thought process, we'll do so after this short break. Don't go away. This is Newsline.
Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
Welcome back to Newsline, where we're joined this morning by Mr. Rusripala Tenakon. Mr. Rusripala, who do you think is the biggest, is the person who, or the organization has taken the biggest hit on the losses? And this, we talk about enormous losses. Who's lost the most?
Naturally, for us, this is a very unethical operation that they did, and they planned it pointed towards public funds. The biggest loser in this is the Employee Provident Fund, and
EPF.
That is public, the EPF, the public money, the money belonging to the workers of
the workers of the country.
That is where the crime is. It is an unpardonable crime if they do that, if they perpetrate such things on funds that are due to the laborers, the workers, the hard-earned monies. It is an unpardonable sin, I should say. That is where the graveness of the crime is. And the loss to the Provident Fund, although it is not felt immediately, it is an ongoing thing.
Indeed.
Ultimately, it accrues to the benefit of the workers of this country. For some, a wee bit of percentage loss from the EPF brings about a huge loss individually to several persons, because their savings are so meager in some cases. So it is a crime to do this. They have done this. The ultimate loser, finally the major portion of the biggest burden goes to the Employees Provident Fund, EPF.
And so it is this people's money that these people have essentially, for want of a better word, fiddled out and taken out of this country, and this is the money that is being spent in the glitzy capitals of the West and of the East too, and all these frequent trips to places like Singapore and Dubai and so on is being done at the expense of the people. It's OPM, other people's money.
Yes, for us the very strange thing about this is there has been many instances of draining of funds belonging to the government under the new government. Several. This is not the only instance. But the difference you will see, now the former regime, which you and I agree, there have been accusations and allegations that there have been a lot of money that has been squandered, but they are attributable to some kind of a construction or something that is tangibly visible.
That you can touch and feel.
Tangible is the word.
That's the word.
Now here is something happening, money going out down the drains, and millions and running into billions with nothing tangible seen. This is the crime of it. How many things you appoint agents in foreign countries when such things are not needed, and you think of bigger, huge plans and pay for people to plan those plans.
Indeed.
By paying them huge sums of money.
Indeed.
And here the central bank money, through the central bank, using that as a scapegoat, you play out the EPF. I mean, what is tangible in this? Only tangible thing is that some people are becoming fat.
But we can't really place all this blame on just the one governor and the one monetary board.
No, the governor alone cannot do this.
Exactly.
It is obvious from what we have seen when in retrospect. We see there is a lot of coverage given to him. Lot of coverage. He's perfectly well covered. His statements, then the attributory functions that are required to bring this to light have been blocked very nicely.
But Mr. Spai, I want to say this. I'm troubled because every time we raise questions, they'll always say, but when you ask the Rajapakses about why you have let's talk about nepotism, and the stock answer was, these people have been elected. Okay, so what they're saying is it was democratically done. All right, but they were not all elected. Certainly the people who were elected, but there were others who were appointed without any such election. And so that's where this nepotism and family bandism came in. However, you ask everybody, if you ask this governor, not this governor, the one, Mr. Mahendran, and he'll say to you that I've done nothing wrong. The monetary board has asked for this or that or whatever. And so it's the same in the previous tenure. There's always an opt-out clause, and it was done before, or it was democratic because in this case the monetary board approved it. Is that the answer? Does it make it right?
Absolutely not. The right thing for the country to see would have been, firstly, at the very first instance when this allegation was brought about, and because it was something in black and white, because it was something that was evidenced by the officers who were involved in the transaction, the first thing that could have happened, ideal, is for Mahendran to go. He should have tendered his resignation and go. And beyond, the entire the monetary board of the country, the central bank, they should have resigned. They should have resigned.
I'm so glad you're mentioning it, because I've had a look at this thing.
Yeah.
And we find that apart from Governor Mahendran, who wasn't given a new contract and therefore automatically left the central bank, others are still very much in place. And what is the fate of the people who were transferred out of their normal jobs? Coincidentally, soon after speaking to the 3-member lawyer committee, there is that wonderful personality who stood her ground and had this backbone to do that in Mrs. Seniviratne. She was told by Governor Mahendran to take 20 billion, having advertised 1, and it was now 20 billion. And she refused. What a wonderful public servant she is. And thanks to her insistence, she managed to halve the losses. So this country should be absolutely eternally grateful. Mrs. Seniviratne, if she's listening in, thank you. You know, but what these people have all been transferred out.
She definitely owes our appreciation, but she's paying the penalty for it. The biggest penalty is being paid by that lady. Very unfortunate. And I want to make a small correction.
Yes.
She didn't have it. She didn't want.
Her
recommendation was to take only 2 billion. That is in keeping with the traditions of the central bank. When a bond for 1 billion is called for, they have the space and the limit to go up to about 2.6. That they recommended. Within the realm of their operational practices, they recommended it. But 10 was again ordered by Mahendran.
That's right.
When 20 was refused.
But it is apparently it is on the orders, not of the monetary board, but on the orders of something called the Prime Minister's office, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, somebody appearing to be very close to the Prime Minister, when they go and say, okay, I have this been told to me by the Prime Minister. Probably, I mean, the people like working in the central bank, they would be thinking twice before they say no to such a thing.
Yeah.
And what if they say no, they'll not go home.
Indeed.
By saying this, if they are transferred out and penalized to this extent, far as I must tell you, I've been a trade unionist. I'm very much open to the trade unions now operating in the central bank. They are all dissatisfied and they are all cursing the period that they served in that bank while Mahendran was there as the governor. You know, there were undue transfers, unauthenticated changes.
So although the end of the war took away that threat of terror, and unfortunately there was this fear psychosis prevalent all over the country, and there was this white man syndrome and so on, and yes, we can now talk about it because we are able to. And so, yes, we are taking our chance now to say so. There was a fear psychosis. But when this government came in, on this bandwagon of good governance, all that was supposed to have disappeared. But those poor souls, like you're now saying, at the central bank, they had no such freedom from this fear psychosis, because that is what they did. As you say, they are not very happy about that term.
Yeah, slightly different the situation there, because they are employees. I mean, you and I, we are not employed by them, you know, so we have the freedom to go. But anyway, I have a joke to share with you. I was walking the other day in the park in Nugegoda, done by Gotabaya. And then I met a very old lawyer friend of mine, and I had given him a paper the previous night. And then he had read the paper and he was telling me, you are very critical of the Yahapalana government. Be careful, there are no white vans now, but then SUV might come. So that was just a joke. You know, I was sharing with it. There are no such things happening. We are all praising the people for giving that choice.
That's true. But having got that choice, isn't it odd that this old boy network is very much alive and well? You know, we had nepotism and family bandism during the previous government in the Rajapaksa years. But in this government we have the old boy network. Well, for example, Mr. Ruspala, what on earth was Malik Samaravikrama doing at a meeting discussing state finances when Kabir Hashim and the governor and the finance minister were having a meeting as to find out how much of money they required, and that is when they decided that they'd go for this to raise some money, and they went for this 1 billion, which became 10. But my question really is, what on earth was Malik Samaravikrama? He was not a member of parliament. He had no real standing, apart from some claim to be the advisor to the Prime Minister.
Yeah, when you are referring to this family bandism and nepotism, I think I should say there is some method to the madness in that. But when it goes to these old cronies and schoolmates and classmates and some, you know, some such band, I mean, there is absolutely no meaning in that. There is absolutely no meaning in that.
But professionalism has gone out of the window. Completely out of the window. And in comes people who are friends of ministers, maybe the Prime Minister, who knows? But he too is the minister, he's the Prime Minister. And it appears that to get one of the to get a job, all you need to do is to be a friend. And whether you are a professional is sort of secondary or doesn't even feature.
Does it show some smallness for us? Indeed. I mean, this whole thing, you know, that's not how one should look at things when it comes to the country, when it comes to professionalism, when it comes to decision making, when it comes to using somebody's experience. All that is very important, and it's a bigger picture. When you apply such things, it shows a smallness. Very unacceptable smallness. And regarding this presence of Mr. Malik Samaravikrama in that meeting, in that forum, utterly unwarranted. Totally. And he had no place, you know, in a forum where decision was taken to ask for a 15 billion shortage immediately, and ask the central bank to find that money in that forum. How can a person as Mr. Samaravikrama, who was then with no official status in the network, to occupy a place? And what was his contribution? Whom did he represent? What was his interest? So these are all. This is why we say.
What was his expertise?
No, exactly. I mean, beyond that, say let it be. If it was holding some position, then the expertise does not come into play, because he was holding at least a position. But here is a person from nowhere, and in a forum where billions are required, the requirement of billions are decided. This is where the whole thing is tainted with black. This operation, you know, the entire central bank bond, for the people, it is just the selling of the bond and then secondary market of, not that. The preparation for the requirement of the funds to going for this bond, from that stage it is tainted.
On that note, we're going to take a very quick and short break. Do stay tuned. This is Newsline.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.